Morning, everyone. With any luck, my broadcast just started, and you're now seeing me live on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else. I'm here with April. What company are you from? We're not from any company. You're not from a company? We volunteer. Oh, okay. So I'm here with April picking up the food for food distribution thing that I regularly do on Wednesdays, but Wednesday is the day that the stuff comes out and the food comes out, and Wednesday is also the day that I do the broadcast. And this Wednesday is also the day that I'm supposed to do an orientation for a new job. I'm going to be working with the Philadelphia Unemployment Project, and I'm going to be doing their advocacy. Oh, there's Jay. And there's Cheryl. Good morning, guys. How is everybody?
There we go. That little, there was like a little, it looked like this.
Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning.
So I'm doing food deliveries this morning as part of my broadcast. It's going to be weird. How you all doing?
Good.
You complete it, and then the next one.
I see Jay's driving already.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's on mute.
How's your week been?
Not too bad. A little bit on the busy side, but surprisingly, with all the storms, I didn't lose power. My house is still intact. Things in my yard did not blow away, so that's always nice.
That's good.
You still have your squirrel problem?
No, actually, the squirrel seems to have left.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it looks like we're live on Mount Fresh, at least.
Maybe the squirrel's playing with you, man. He's just playing with you.
They just moved in.
Well, so what happened is we put
somebody's loud.
Sorry?
Somebody's extra loud in the background.
It's April's Bluetooth adapter isn't working too well. So we got a one-way door. I repaired most of the damage that the squirrel did, and put a one-way door on the exit that I left him. And he hasn't been back since Saturday night. He left sometime Saturday night, and I slept like the dead on Saturday night into Sunday morning. I was almost late for a roundtable event. It's pretty funny.
What happens when you have no scratching in the wall, right?
Yeah, like when there's no scratching, suddenly you can sleep.
Wait, was he in your house?
Yeah, it was in my roof.
Oh, hell nah. Yeah.
Right above my bedroom.
I love nature, but as long as nature stays outside. When you clean my house, it's on now. Now it's on. Now you've messed up.
Right.
I'll give you a chance. I'll open the door and help you leave. If you don't leave, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I know he was in your room, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was him, and it was keeping me up. That's keeping me up because I couldn't, sleep with him in there.
Very unsquirrel-like behavior.
What have you been up to this week, Jay?
Just working. I started my web development boot camp course. I'll be in that for 18 months. Getting certified as a web developer. And of course, when I do that, my photography picks up. Like, God damn it. When I wasn't doing anything with driving trucks, I couldn't book a client to save my life, especially with the whole COVID thing. And the minute I start night classes with this web development program, everybody wants to shoot now. Now, I'm not going to turn the money down, but I'm like, Jesus, man. How come it just never comes when you're not busy?
I never get client calls because I don't know what you and I do different, but I hardly ever get client calls for photography.
Word of mouth is like my only thing that saves you, man, because I really suck at branding. I have zero branding done for the drone company yet, and I gotta get I gotta take the exam to get certified to fly them legally. So I'm not the best person to talk to. Word of mouth is the only thing saving me with photography. I guess on Instagram, but even then I don't really brand and market that hard. But
yeah, I'm pretty good on Instagram. I'm pretty good at branding, but I think I just charge way more than you do because I charge like.
Well, because you're better than me, so you should charge way more than I am.
Not better. I just do different stuff that people pay more for.
Humble. You're better. Whatever. It's not up for debate. Coming from me, that's a compliment because I'm brutal on people's work. So you're better than me, bro. You're excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, road closures everywhere this morning. I'll just show you guys. We're just trying to get down the road here. What the heck?
So, is it because of the storm yesterday?
Yes. Everything's all messed up.
Surprisingly, where I used to live at is Southwest Philly and near Upper Darby, a lot of that was underwater. And I haven't seen it that bad since I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. A lot.
You didn't have to drive through Center City at all today, did you, Jay?
Oh no, I don't do Center City, bro. No. I do the country. We don't do cities in the truck. No.
No. I mean, like 676 is closed down, and they're rerouting everything on 676 onto Broad Street.
Oh,
that bad on 676?
That's going to be fun when you get off work.
Yeah, it's that bad on 676 because they have that barge hit the overpass over the river. Yeah, so there was a barge up the river, up the steeple from the 676 overpass, and they were doing a dredging project and a bridge deconstruction project. So there's a old train overpass that or train trestle that they were demolishing.
I know what you're talking about. I know the old one.
Yeah, and the whole barge came off its moorings in the flood stage of the river and hit the 676 overpass.
Don't barges do like 11 miles an hour?
You're pretty fast.
No, but the barge is a big flat piece of metal in the water. So the thing is, water affects it a lot. So if the river is pushing the barge into the bridge, there's like 18 tons of force going the wrong direction on the bridge piling.
So did they not have the Weather Channel and know that when it rains, water gets more treacherous?
Yes.
I'm just saying it because I know someone that has a lot more education than me was responsible for handling this, and they didn't. I know what buoyancy is, and that stuff in the water doesn't stay still as you tie it down. And I didn't go to school for that. That's 5th grade science.
Well, they could have probably asked anybody who's ever driven a boat, but yeah.
Yeah, I took sailing when I was like 11, so yeah, I know.
Yeah, we got a lot of rain yesterday. At least here in Wilmington, we got 5.5 inches about.
Woo.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A lot of rain.
Yeah.
I was in Baltimore and Virginia mostly. We got really heavy rain, but it wasn't to the point where I couldn't see, which I was surprised about. It would rain and stop, then rain and stop. It was just every time I got out the truck, it would rain. When I got in the truck, it would stop raining. That's just how it went.
It rained so hard at my house that I literally couldn't see the backyard out my back door.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a lot of water. Like my entire backyard was, and luckily the previous owners, they put drains in, so it drains out to the street, but then the street was flooded. But at least it wasn't like it was puddling in my yard. But at least as soon as it stopped raining, it was all out front.
We have a French drain around the back of our basement, and I was really glad for it yesterday. So a French drain and a sump well, and it like about 10 minutes into the rain starting, I just started hearing all this rushing water sound, and I went down and I checked the sump well, and it's been bone dry, like literally dusty dry for 5 years.
Wow.
Not today. Not today.
Water pouring in there.
Actually,
pouring in there, like.
I probably should check my basement.
You haven't checked the basement yet?
No. I mean, I have a certain pump, and I have like one of those alarms where if it gets above a certain level near where the water's going through, it'll alarm like extremely loud, and that didn't go off yesterday.
Okay. I feel like we're in an old 80s movie. Have you checked the children?
I don't know where they are. They're probably floating away. But yeah, I probably should check my basement at some point today.
Maybe.
Probably. I probably should go do that now. I'll be right back.
Okay. If you're not back, we'll send for you.
We'll send a search party. I'll enlist a squirrel. They can probably.
Yes, because he's very good at getting in homes. That is so weird.
So I wanted to talk a bit today about bureaucracy and the fact that bureaucracy causes a difficulty in participating at any level of the economy. And what I wonder if we as people of color could have a solution to bureaucracy. It seems like
repeat that last part.
I said I wonder if we as people of color could have a solution to bureaucracy, but I don't. That's let me show you 1 second. One of the most unsafe things I've ever seen.
Oh,
I don't know if you can see this, but there is a guy. Yeah, well, there's a guy standing on top of that bucket connecting the electrical to a.
Oh no!
No, that's not the proper way to use that.
He's completing it. He's going to complete the circuit if he touches that wire.
He's touching the wire, but
I mean, but if he touches it raw while he's in a metal, wow, that's bad.
Yeah, on a metal
bulldozer.
Yeah, it's on treads, not on tires. Like at least if it was on tires, you might be able to get away with that.
You can almost hear the Looney Tunes theme music.
Idiot. Anyway,
wow.
So
yeah, South Philly?
No, North Philly.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we're in the Kensington area.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone really wear goggles or hard hats doing construction in North or South Philly before.
Yeah,
never seen it.
Yeah,
I ain't never seen it. Not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I've never seen it.
So yeah, Cheryl, I was wondering. I was talking about bureaucracy, and I was wondering if we as people of color have any workarounds for bureaucracy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I from what I know, at least, I think it's green now technically. From what I know of our folks, we tend to like bureaucracy to some extent.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird dichotomy that we've got going on.
Like you go to a church, that's nothing but bureaucracy. You go to a Baptist church, that's nothing but bureaucracy.
Don't go in there wearing the wrong thing.
Don't want to go there wearing the wrong thing. You got to sign up early for your activities. you got to make sure you talk to the right deacon, you grease the right palms.
Potato salad better be right. No raisins.
You're out of there. You know, certain church members have more pull than.
Oh yeah.
Have more pull.
Anybody cool with the pastor's wife is golden. You gotta get cool with the pastor's wife. It has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was Baptist till I was about 13, so yeah, I know.
Yeah. But so I got my registration as a minority-owned business enterprise.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Congratulations.
1840. Yeah. So but the bureaucracy around doing that is amazing, and then the bureaucracy around using it is quite insanity too. Just to work with the city of Philadelphia, I had to register on 4 different websites last night.
Wow.
And fill out the same information 4 different times.
You know, I wonder if it's a lot like, you know, when you do union work also. There's a lot of bureaucracy that happens.
Big time.
So I wonder, it's kind of tough. Like, how do you get around that? Like, sometimes it helps you out, and sometimes it's too many hoops to jump for some people. So I wonder, like, if there's I don't even know if there is a workaround. I mean, if you look at our government in general, there's a lot of bureaucracy.
Built on it.
I'll be right back. I gotta drop off this box. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. There is really kind of no, like, we have things that are in place that are supposed to, you know, cut out the bureaucracy, but then there's still, you know, everybody's got their hands in somebody else's pocket.
Right, and everybody knows that.
Right.
But whenever you raise the notion to revamp any part of what is obviously corrupt, people get upset with you. We're like, well, if everyone in the room is admitting it's corrupt on both sides, the Democratic and Republican, we both agree on that. Why are we all in disagreement that we need to revamp it? Right. What are you afraid of? Is it because you're benefiting from the corruption? Probably so. And then you wonder why you don't get young people in great numbers and minorities in great numbers, and why we're just completely distrusting to not only the government but the justice. That's because everybody knows everybody's stealing, but nobody's going to say anything.
Right.
Until it affects them. Well, you took my funding. Like, you mean the funding that you did dirty things to get?
Exactly.
Well, similar to the streets, buddy. If you steal it and then I steal it from you, you can't call the cops because we both stole it. That's how it works.
It's kind of weird too. Like, even what, you know, James was talking about, like having to go on 4 different websites and do all these things. Is it to weed out people who would try to benefit from it?
Yes, it's to discourage it.
You know, like, we've all heard the, you know, term of, well, you know, I have American Indian in me, so I deserve blah, blah, blah. You know, when they do the DNA, white people find out that they have no American Indian, Native American.
And yet they have an abundance of African American in them. Awesome. Sorry, buddy, we don't get any reparations. We're not Jewish or Japanese.
Also, as soon as they find out that they do have that one drop of Black blood, then now they want to qualify themselves as a Black because
and they'll get it.
The benefits of it. So
the same way they busted this entire Jewish community in, I think it was either Brooklyn or the Bronx, for taking advantage of Section 8 for like the past 25 years.
Right. Yeah.
But nobody got arrested. Like, okay, you're exposing them. Nobody got arrested.
No one talks about that too. They always say, oh, well, Black people are, you know, taking advantage of the system, and really,
no, we're not. Listen, I wanted to do something as simple as change my name in Pennsylvania. What did I change my name, like 7 or 8 years ago? I found out you can do a common law name change without having to go through the whole court system. Perfectly legal. You just declare it.
It's only because of it's completely different in different places too. Like, that's part of the bureaucracy. Like, you can't you don't know what your requirements are going to be depending on where you live, because
but it's perfectly legal in the entire state of Pennsylvania. So I did it. I had a judge stamp it. I had a gigantic Commonwealth Pennsylvania seal. I had a judge's signature. Social Security let me change it. The only place that wouldn't let me change it was the DMV.
I was gonna say the DMV.
Listen, and this lady was so belligerent, I almost got her fired. I was like, listen.
Wow.
You're raising your voice. You're yelling at me. I've talked to you in a calm voice this entire time. You're accusing me of forging this document, which I would go to jail automatically. This is a judge's signature. So 3 months later, I got my voter registration card, which I also changed. Easily duplicatable at a Kinko's or Staples with no problem. I go in there, the same ladies in there 2 months later, and automatically changes my license. And when she gave it to me, she was done. I said, "You don't remember me, do you?" She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You gave me," and I said it just like I said, "You gave me so much shit for having this exact same document, and I came in here with one extra thing that's easily forgeable, a voter registration card, and you automatically changed my license."
Wow.
And everybody behind me just looked at her like she was an idiot. I said, "You make no sense. None. But that's like a prime example of bureaucracy. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. And all of it feeds back into play. Like, to get my minority business enterprise certification, it costs like 4 days worth of work and $500. You know, there's about 20, 30 hours worth of work to provide all the evidence that they wanted and $500. And that's just to start to, participate in the system, not to mention all the money and time it's going to cost to actually track down the jobs and to find the companies that want to hire minority certified businesses.
Right.
Everybody does now because they don't want to get their stuff burned up.
Yeah.
We
Well,
love y'all now.
Until we should overlay Rodney King timeline over top of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and just see how long it is until people start forgetting.
I got my head ripped off yesterday in a post about the Beyonce video "Black is King." I haven't even seen it, but I saw some of the stills on Tumblr. It looked really good. And I said, and I always ask a question or post something just to spark thought. I said, it's very interesting that one Black artist posted one of the blackest things I've seen in a long time and gets shitted on by so many of us. But meanwhile, a lot of these female rappers that y'all just idolize, that push the thug agenda, push drugs, push crime, y'all give them love all the time. Interesting. And everybody was like, yeah, going back and forth. This one person said, well, yeah, what about justice for Breonna Taylor? I said, listen. I said, one, Beyonce has nothing to do with the control of what the feds do, which they've already began the investigation finally. I said, two, every post that comes out of my mouth is not going to be about Miss Taylor's case, although I do want her to see justice, and I hope the men that executed her also get executed. I don't want them to go to jail. I want them to die. That's how I get down. I said, but two, you're coming at my neck like I'm not concerned for that. Like, everything that comes out of my mouth from now on has to do with that injustice, and that's ridiculous. And she just kept coming at me like, yo, you sound like a weirdo.
Out of curiosity, was it a Black woman or a white woman?
A Black woman.
Yeah.
my white girlfriends are riders, man. They just are. They're riders. I mean, I love everybody generally, but it's like usually when I get decapitated, it's like from a sister that's angry about something that has nothing to do with the post. I'm like, that's not what I said. And that's also not what I posted. Like, what's wrong? You need a hug? You okay? You want to hug it out? Come on, bring it in.
Decapitated by white women. Like, white women usually come from my neck. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, debate about whether or not we should have Black women.
We're just trying to go 800 feet down the street, and
what?
Everything is like this. friggin' concrete truck blocking the entire damn street. See if we can go back one. Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is why I like to drive on the highway, and I do not do city driving in this monster. No, I won't. No, I'll quit first. We need you to go to the Bronx. No, you need another driver because I'm not going to the Bronx.
The city stuff. Yeah.
What are you up to, Charles? I see you making your pour over there.
Yeah.
I can't see him. Where's he at?
Right here. Sorry I'm late. I had like now I'm working with a team overseas, and like sometimes they slack me like right before 10. I'm just like
You ever get the, oh, I have a quick question? You're like,
It's never a quick question.
Well, yeah. Well, he said 10 minutes and it lasted like 25, but like this person was reasonable. Like another person where I'm just like no, like he's actually really a good developer. You know, he just gets stuck in his head. Like there's another developer where I'm just like, I take that call? No, this is going to be a complete waste of my time. Like, you know, and like, I mean, I think there's like several factors around the not getting it. Like, so try to be patient and polite, but sometimes there's like, you got to cut your losses. You know what I mean? Like,
That's an impressive tea kettle, brother.
It's not the one that my old job had where it was like it had a thermostat on it and stuff.
Oh, fancy.
I know.
Yeah, it's super fancy because like
water versus, you know, hotter water.
You didn't take it when you left? I would have took it when I left, man. That's how I am.
No, it wasn't mine. It was like
and
Go down here and come back towards it, because that I can walk it from the alley.
What?
You can what?
No, he's doing his delivery, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You're both like,
So we tried and go around the block, and there's a dude doing road closure and a dude doing like a sidewalk cut on the only other way to get to where we're going.
This is exactly why I don't even drive in the city like on a regular, let alone trying to get to, you know, random places.
No, go one more block, make a right, and then make a right on the one way that goes south.
Go 40 feet.
I literally, when I took my job that I have now, I was like, so where is this job at? Like I can literally get right off of, you know, 95 and go like 2 blocks, make a right and be at work. Like I don't have to drive in the city. Screw that.
Those are my favorite deliveries when it's right off the highway. I love those deliveries. It's like, okay.
Like you literally get off and then you can like turn around and get right back on the highway without having to go through the whole entire city.
yeah, between the last 6 months, like between like the month and a half that I actually worked in Center City, which was amazing, and like the 5 months in quarantine, it's like
Grandpa, you're about to drop off the road. What are you doing? I'm sorry, somebody about to die in front of me. Just had to make an observation.
I'm never going to get a job where I have to drive there ever again.
Yeah, just stop at this intersection. They're on
that's always a plus when you don't have to actually drive to work.
Yeah, there are decent moments.
All right, so just pull over back into that spot right there.
I used to have a 3-hour commute to work when I worked at Merck Pharmaceuticals. I worked in Rahway, New Jersey.
Wow.
And it was 3 hours whether you took a train or drove, so it didn't really matter if I drove or not.
So,
but they were paying me like $56,000 an hour to do documentation work.
So what made you actually?
The money. I mean, the work was easy. I mean, I got hired to do documents, but all they had me doing was writing investigative letters, which are like template emails to doctors around the world. That's all I did for like 9 months.
Wow.
It was the easiest money I ever made in my entire life. And then they closed the site down. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, I think the furthest I've ever worked was about an hour. And, you know, that gets kind of taxing when you're working, you know, you're traveling an hour to work, you know, you're supposed to work 8, but then you end up being 10, and then you have to travel another hour. And with the way traffic is around here, like I don't know how it was in Rahway, but going to like Wayne, PA, and going into Philly and going, like it just was too much to King of Prussia area. It's just traffic for no good reason. And
the only thing I hated was Amtrak. Like everything would be flowing, like Jersey Transit flows like nobody's business. I would get to Trenton on time, and I would be just ready to get the last train to Philly. Boom. Amtrak takes over the line for an hour and a half just because they can.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, they own the lines. It's like,
they're just letting everybody
build a separate line for that. Don't hop on SEPTA's lines.
It's like if I own this house and you watching TV and I come home, I'm like, I'm gonna watch something different. Then you're gonna be like, no. You're like, motherfucker, pay for the cable and you can get the cable. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
And that's why I like the Korean version of democracy better than the American version of democracy. Because what they do, is there a problem? Let's build some shit. And they do that.
I don't know if that's democracy as much as people. It's probably the opposite of democracy.
No, they vote on it and then they go build it. That's democracy.
Well, I mean,
this highway's congested. Okay, let's destroy the highway, rebuild it. Let's do a top level and the bottom level. How long is it going to take? 5 years exactly. How long are they working on 76 near the Art Museum? How long?
So let's talk about traffic. So I got stuck in traffic coming home from work on Friday, right? So we've had this whole quarantine thing since March. They decided to do construction on 95.
Of course.
Now. And I'm like, okay, now there's more people on the road. And now my half-hour commute turned into an hour and a half. Like, how come y'all couldn't do this stuff back in March, April, May, June, not August?
Because they milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it. If you can build a Rite Aid in 2 weeks, you can fix a freaking highway in 6 months.
Yes.
Come on, man. I've seen a Rite Aid built from the ground up in 2 weeks, fully functioning. It's creepy.
Different though. They come in pieces.
Bro, it's mortar, metal, cement, and paint. That's all it is on the highway. It's all it is. There's no welding involved.
The highway's actually a little bit different because A, it's longer, and B, it like takes forever.
Every day when I drive,
it takes forever in this country.
Right. When I drive past construction and I see how many people who are really working, and you're like, who's actually like doing stuff?
One guy moving dirt around. One guy.
These buildings real fast. It's like a billion people putting up the wall, putting up the sheetrock, putting up, the brick. When you go past a construction site, sometimes there's one guy just with a, jackhammer, and sometimes there's 50 guys looking at him do it. Like, what are you guys doing? Just hurry up.
Getting paid for nothing.
But I've seen them.
The trade unions suck.
Right.
Huh?
The trade unions suck. Like,
why is that?
Because they can get away with it, and there's like a lot of like racism in those like unions too. So like people are like, it's basically extortion. And then like what they'll do is like the reason why the convention center was screwed for so many years was like they were like, well, you need like to set the stuff up. Like there has to be an electrician to like plug something into a wall. Because you can't do that yourself, but they also have to be a licensed electrician. And then like another person will like move a chair.
So you're talking about the actual reason why the Philadelphia Convention Center was failing for several years.
Like decades.
But no, it wasn't decades. Like they had when they rebuilt the convention center, they had created a problem, which is they negotiated all the union contracts separately. So all put in protection clauses for their own work. So if you like, I did a show at the convention center. And I was just loading in booze. I was allowed to, as an outside vendor, load in all my gear. But to put up the gear, we had to get a carpenter. To plug in the gear, we had to get an electrician. And then to connect the audio and video equipment, we had to get another electrician. because the one electrician was just a AC electrician. The other one was electronics electrician.
Wow.
But yeah, my one friend, she worked for Cirque du Soleil, and the reason why we don't get it in Philly anymore is because of the union stuff. Like there was that, and then like I think they did it in Camden one year, but it was still like the Philly unions and stuff. But the last couple of times that Cirque du Soleil's been in town, it's been in Oaks because you don't have to worry about that shit as much.
Well, it just completely depends on the venue and the requirements of the venue, because I do lots of stuff in Philly and I'm not a union member, but I'll use union labor sometimes, and sometimes I won't. It just depends on what I'm able to do. I still pay the folks that I hire. I still pay them as if they were union members. So, I mean, unions are good and bad. The union leadership here in Philadelphia has problems. They're entrenched. They shouldn't be. Union leadership needs to change as often as government leadership does. Like anytime you get entrenched leadership anywhere, you get corruption problems. I mean, that's why Philly, even though it's a democratic city, has so much corruption problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do, right?
I mean, how do you get corruption? Without, I mean, there goes that bureaucracy again.
The unions are never going to be diverse. You're never going to see diversity in the unions. That's never going to happen.
Well, interestingly, they started diverse.
Diverse how? Scottish and Irish?
No, Black Americans were a huge part of union efforts, going all the way back to like the original.
I know, but how are they now?
Not anymore. Yes, not anymore. Like they became undiverse, but
thanks.
In the early days of unions, if you look at like the Black Panther Party and stuff, they were all pro-union, because all the socialist movements are pro-union. Mm-hmm. All the socialist movements are born out of unionizing. So it's interesting.
Yeah, then everybody gets hired for like bigger positions, then they just like ditch the union.
Yeah.
How much? I'm gonna call y'all back.
Yeah, it's kind of and I guess it depends on the industry also. Like some of like the auto unions versus the drivers and.
Mm-hmm.
And even with Merck, I mean, they have their own union for lab staff, which is weird. It's like the only pharmaceutical company that I know that has a union.
Merck was very weird because when I got hired there to do their documentation work, and I asked them, I said, I know how to do documentation work. I've done it for other pharmaceutical companies before and subsidiaries. Do you guys have a training regimen or an SOPs that you follow by outside of what the FDA automatically wants? They're like, no. I was like, so how do I know
what to
the
do?
Merck way? Oh, right. Just follow someone. Follow someone?
Wow.
I said, I'm not trying to rock the boat here, but I'm handling documentations for a drug that could be worth millions of dollars. And your reply to me is follow someone?
I wonder if it's because they're so old, and that's what I've noticed, like working with a lot of pharmaceutical companies. When they're 100 years old, they've been doing it the same way for 100 years.
Right, but there's a way they do it that somebody wrote down that I should know about, so I don't make a mistake, and I don't know, get you fined $200,000 every day until you fix it.
Oh, usually it's, well, we train people. We tell people when we're training them, what to do, and they have to remember all of this stuff that we told them. Whereas you look at some of the smaller biotech companies, there's an SOP for how to make SOPs.
Yeah.
Like.
I need you to fill out your reports on the reports that you filled out today.
I got to get your TPS reports. We have the memo, right?
What? You mean that posted on the refrigerator? Yeah, that was your memo. I feel what? I just thought that was extremely frightening, and I don't miss that industry whatsoever because it was just way too much word of mouth. Take a guess, spin the wheel, Lucky Rabbit's foot stuff going on. Like, this is going to have me have congestive heart failure at 45. I can't work here. This is too much pressure.
We've managed to go all of 3 stops so far on our delivery tour.
You need a bike, James. You need a 10-speed or like a motorcycle.
But now there's a bus and utility trucks, and the bus isn't moving on the green lights for some reason. I can't tell why.
Candy Crush.
Oh, it looks like that other truck is turning, but other people were turning.
I mean, dude, you could Philadelphia.
Definitely could have walked faster.
And they keep asking me to work for SEPTA. No.
No, don't. I know some friends who work for SEPTA, and no, they did not take care of their employees during COVID. They did during the outbreak of COVID. They did not. No, just no. The leadership at SEPTA is literally anti-mass transit. They're anti-mass transit, anti-union. I don't know. I don't even understand how people who are diametrically opposed to the existence of an organization get hired to lead an organization.
Right. It's a state organization though. So like the rest of the state hates black people. So they're like, why don't we just like, it's like the PPA is the same fucking thing. It's a state organization. They're just stealing from the city. It's ridiculous. Let us steal our own shit from our citizens.
I definitely vote for stealing our own shit.
I'm all for it.
That's my entire platform.
I get all these messages, like the new popular thing for candidates to do is to contact people via text message. So my number's out there.
Oh, I fucking hate that.
Yeah,
I hate it too. Don't. And one thing I will say, I'll say it now, and hopefully people are still watching this because we don't have video today. We have audio, but I'll replace the video with something later. The one thing I'll say is candidates need to understand if you're text messaging somebody who's politically active, telling them something that is 4-day-old information via text message is less than useless, and it's actually aggravating and makes me not want to vote for you. Like, don't ask me if I'm registered to vote. If you got my number as a politically active person, yes, I'm registered to vote, you moron.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a little
I'm dying to see someone from the Trump administration text me and actually want to have a dialogue. Like, I can't, tell me 3 good things about this bowl of Jell-O you have running the country. Come on, sweetheart, I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting, like, come on. Let's have it.
Jell-O. That is rude to Jell-O.
They're going to say, oh, well, unemployment amongst black people is, down. That's the number one thing that they try to throw out there.
And it's not, biggest true.
Recession since the Depression. Next question.
Enough. They'll think it's true.
Yeah. I'm tired of people.
Although, speaking of black people, how does your president feel about us?
Oh, he hates.
I'll wait. Right.
No, they're gonna say he loves the blacks.
He what?
They're gonna say he loves the blacks.
Herman Cain's dead now. You don't got your mouthpiece anymore. Herman Cain's dead now. You don't have your mouthpiece anymore. So sorry.
Yo, Karma's working overtime with some of these.
Is it though?
Woo, working real fast. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, I got a text message by Ari Shapiro's campaign. Shapiro is the state AG for Pennsylvania. And the assumption is he's going to run for governor. He's either going to run for mayor of Philadelphia in the next election, mayoral election, or he's going to run for governor, not in the next election, but the election after that. Because Wolf is going to time out here, and so either we're going to have our Kenny's probably going to run for PA governor.
Probably. Makes sense.
And Toomey's going to run for governor. So it's going to be like a Toomey versus Kenny election for governor of PA next gubernatorial election. And I don't want to vote for either one of those guys. This is worse. That's worse than Trump versus
Biden
versus like, you can't get two people with more similar and worse politics. Like they just both useless pieces of trash. Anyway.
You're not a Kenny fan?
No, I'm not a Kenny fan. I think he should resign. He's ineffectual as an executive. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he has more people telling him what he should do and being right about it than any politician has the right to have consultants, and he's not paying them, and he doesn't listen to them. You know, like he comes out with all these half-assed apologies, and like his statement on the 676 and 50th Street gassing was like, "Oh, sorry, we only meant to gas black people."
Wow. Sorry, white folks.
Right. We didn't think y'all was gonna be out there helping.
You know, you took over a highway and we were confused. Anyway, so now, no, I'm not a Kenny fan. He was not bad, but his text message representative was texting me, and they were actually interacting, and they were like, "Well, what could Shapiro do to address your concerns?" And I was texting him some of my concerns, like, you know, we need to end for-profit prison systems and systems within prisons that are for-profit as well. I'm gonna go drop off this box now, but discuss.
Yeah, the whole prison system thing. Oh, it
How come we never talk about the way it doesn't actually reform anyone?
It really doesn't. It actually makes you
was being discussed for a few years when I was younger, and now it's just not. It does indulge in the conversation about who's making money off the prisons, but we're never actually discussing, does being sent to prison, which is supposed to be what the reason is for, actually reform you? I know it doesn't, because I know several people from prison that have been there that are much worse now. Much worse.
And like
you went in for trafficking, but now you're probably racking up assault charges and a couple of attempted murder charges. So yeah, you graduated.
You're getting to meet other like career criminals, and there's no actual rehabilitation on the inside.
None.
And it's kind of weird because like in the South where my parents are from, you know, they hail prison jobs as good jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you don't realize like, okay, yes, you know, all of my, you know, cousins and aunts and uncles work at the prison, but what are you guys really doing? Like, you know, they're building more prisons to say, oh, well, we're bringing more jobs to the area, but you're also taking people from, you know, their neighborhoods and their houses and arresting them for petty stuff and putting them in privatized prisons. And, you know,
nothing but legalized slavery. And then they manufacture so many things for less than pennies a day.
Right. And then you come out as a felon, and
yep.
You can't do a whole bunch of other things. People won't hire you can't vote, you know, there's a whole bunch of other things. It's not actually rehabilitating you, it's actually like taking a whole bunch of things away from you.
Oh yeah.
And some of those things are hidden. Like, you know, did you know like that no felons were eligible for the PPP or EIDL loans because they were run through the SBA, and the SBA has a purity test?
So I guess people didn't find that out until they applied?
Right.
Right. When as part of the application, it asks if you've ever been convicted of a felony.
Wow. Yeah, and that knocks out a whole bunch of people because, you know.
And if you did your time and you get out, you're still an American, so you should be entitled to the same rights and privileges as other Americans. You served your time.
But if you look at like some of the disparages, you know, between like if you got arrested for something and if a white person got arrested for something,
oh yeah, absolutely,
they may get out, you know, and may not necessarily even be convicted. So technically, they've done a felony, but they're not convicted as a felony.
Right.
So yeah, it's
45-24. I think we can
crazy. I hate.
Like, I know I can get shot for nothing, so
right.
that just encourages me to definitely not want to do crime at all.
Right.
If they're shooting me for no reason, they're definitely going to shoot me now that I'm giving them a reason. Oh, is he robbing a bank? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
And we're really the only country that's kind of, I understand some other countries have some really bad prisons and you don't want to go there, but people don't necessarily, you know, do crimes to end up there. We've got people who are still in prison for marijuana, where it's, you know, recreational in like half of the states. And they're in prison with people who were murderers. You know, it's not like, you know, they went to a separate, you know, marijuana prison, you know, like it's like kind of crazy.
I've known people that did 10 years waiting for their trial for the actual crime.
Right.
Just to keep those cells like
and
full.
Then probably
like he hasn't even been sentenced yet. He's already done 10 years.
Right. And but then when
people like
probably not going to get like, good time for, you know, time served. They're going to do another, you know,
right.
They're going to continue the life in prison. So it's already been there 10, but we still got another 10.
Well, some people plead guilty just because they'll take, even if they're innocent, it'll take them that long to get a trial and get out. So that I might as well plead guilty. Like what, you know?
Right.
And that's the cash bail system. A lot of people are fighting against cash bail now because that's another bureaucratic system that's pay to play. Like it makes things only illegal for poor people. Like if you're poor, you can't get out of jail, so you're gonna sit in jail until 3, 6, 9 months passes, and you can get a court appearance.
Yeah, which is kind of
what happened to the right to a speedy trial? What happened to that? Where does that go?
Speedy. That's considered speedy.
Right. Yeah, I was watching some Dateline or 2020 program where a woman and her husband had killed someone, and they were out on bail. She's out jogging around waiting for her trial. I'm like, oh, it must be nice. Like, you know, like we don't get that. Like when they do the interview for a Black person who's on trial for murdering, you know, conspiring to murder someone.
And I get yelled at all the time when I have these debates about why I'm not patriotic. I said, don't confuse me not loving this country. But am I going to be like slapping American flags and high-fiving USA? No, I'm not going to be doing it because the stuff that we go through just for being people of color, you can't possibly expect me to be all gung-ho. You can't. And it doesn't, it never changes. And the more I dig, the more dirt I find that's still going on. To the point where you don't even want to dig anymore, but it's like, okay, if I dig here, I want to find corruption and murder and espionage and laws made up for our political figures that didn't even exist. Hoover created laws just specifically for Martin Luther King. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. The man made up laws. Like, yeah, we just gonna make up this law so we can get him. What?
And then never went back and was like, oh, let's just erase that law. Nope.
And then you find out he was like half African American. Like, what the fuck, man? I don't know. It's a crazy place to live sometimes.
Yes, it is. Yes,
I get tired of being purple. Tired of being purple. I really am.
Well, we got 5 minutes till the broadcast will automatically end. I want to apologize to folks who are watching it on Facebook and YouTube because it has no video this morning. I'm experimenting with some automating of the the process. So I'm not at home, obviously, but the computer that streams everything is at home. And so I had it set to go live automatically at 10 a.m. And I assume what happened is it's not on the right scene, so it's not broadcasting the actual camera shots. It's just broadcasting a blank black screen and the audio. But yeah,
You'll figure it out.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. It's all right. I mean, these are just little experimental things anyway. It's not like, I got a big budget and like people spending their advertising dollars here.
Right.
Hint.
Right. And they're not paying to watch the broadcast, though.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me do a delivery here. What do you guys? You guys looking forward to anything this week?
I have some great shoots this weekend. I'm looking forward to. Yep.
I'm taking Friday off because I need it, and I'm going to Maryland, and I'm gonna go see some Civil War stuff. So
nice.
Take pictures.
I will. Although, COVID's a little bit more happening down there than it is up here. It's like I have to get out.
Wear your sporty hazmat suit, my friend.
No, I just drink outside and wash your hands. That's all you can really do,
Yeah.
Those James's feet.
What?
I said, I think we just saw your feet.
Oh, probably. We're about halfway through our deliveries now. I got to get done before noon because I have the first meeting with that program that I'm doing the advocacy for the $100 a month, or the $1,000 a month towards mortgages for people who were affected by COVID.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. That's commendable.
Yeah. Should be pretty cool. But yeah, so it'll be $1,000 a month that people can get, and my job is basically both advocating for an extension of the program as well as finding people who getting the information out there about the program and finding people who need to apply for it because folks are, I don't know what it is. Why are folks so reticent to apply for things that are made for them?
I guess it's a distrust of the government, and they feel they're not going to get it because if nothing's going right in their lives, a lot of people just kind of give up and say there's no point in me trying to do this, even though it might help you out. So, I hear it a lot. I heard that a lot growing up. Where, what are you doing that for? You're not going to get anywhere. You can't be a photographer. You can't go to college. You can't drive a truck. I've heard it 1,000 times from both family members and people in my neighborhood. Obviously, I don't listen because I'm obviously driving a truck. But it's just, I don't know. Sometimes there's a kind of a dark cloud in the hood that I've always hated.
I don't know what it was about my family.
Just
My grandfather always advocated taking every help that was offered because he was a very religious man, but he was always like, that's the way God is telling you that he's looking after you.
My grandfather was the same way, but my neighborhood people, not related to me, no. They were very, it's either encouraging or super duper haters, like Haters Ball, Dave Chappelle episode. That was my neighborhood. It was either that or very encouraging. There was no middle ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, broadcast should end in the next minute. I want to thank everybody who stuck through not having video on YouTube and Facebook, and thank you guys and Charles. I don't think Charles is still on, but
He just dropped off.
Yeah.
Once we ran out of beer, he's out.
Thank you guys for joining me this week, and
anytime.